What is going on, Movie Meals? Movie Meals. Today's episode will be awesome. It'll be full of some stuff, some good clip outs, some not good clip outs because we won't clip them out. Remember, this is a Patreon exclusive. We might drop eventually after a month or so on the old YouTube channel, but our first episode when it came out on YouTube has like 200 something views. Um,
Thank you,
but
guys.
anyway, go get some merch. We got new merch. I'm wearing some right now. It's hard to see. It's this Halloween, greater than Christmas. We're taking Christmas out one tree at a time. Kyle's part of the Toon Squad today. But if thank you, Moo patrons. Go join that. Go get some merch. I'll link down in the description. Let's we're gonna start with why I'm wearing this freaking awesome headband.
Well, why
That's
is that,
Cobra
Al?
Kai. We meant to film Cobra Kai a while ago and we haven't. We finished it a while ago. We finished it so long ago. I mean, Kyle texted me something. I don't even remember what we were talking about before, but I was like, "Hey, have you watched Cobra Kai yet?" Because I just finished it. It was like 2 weeks ago, well, maybe longer. And Kyle was like, "Cobra Kai dropped?" Yes, it did. And I finished. And he's like, "I didn't even know it was out." He was on vacation, too busy. But we
Not just
finally saw it.
vacation. Not just vacation. Netflix is terrible with marketing. Cobra Kai's become such an awesome show for them, and those guys don't know how to market the thing. Never saw a clip or trailer or any sort of news anywhere. And I'm
Everything
like,
you're
what
saying,
are the diehards watching this thing?
well,
Like, what's
one,
going on, Netflix? Come on.
One, we all know they're marketing it on cable. Two, everything you said is completely true. Completely true. But
Thank you.
three, it is 98% you were on vacation and you are just off in La La Land. Stop trying to blame other people for the fact that you don't know what's going on.
I still
Come
check
on
Twitter.
now. But we openly talked about it in a chat that you read.
Uh, Red
Yeah,
being
read
the
it. Anyway,
skim.
um we actually meant to film this last week. We didn't get a chance to because we were going to film it on last week's podcast and then clip it out. But we had my brother Annie Essays was on, and we talked about the IGN list, the top 25 anime series of all time they came out with, and it ended up taking the whole show. We thought it might only go for half the segment, maybe part of it, and then we touch on Cobra Kai, and it just didn't happen. So we're here now. But Kyle, what'd you think of this season of Cobra Kai?
I very much enjoy this show still, because it keeps surprising me with the correlations between right from wrong, who was a good guy versus who was a bad guy, and there just keeps on having these parallels that I find enjoyable. And then they're doing good stuff with the characters too. I mean, um, for one thing, they're just moving the show along and still having the characters kind of start to really work together a lot more than we've seen in seasons past. Like there finally is starting to be some growth and some maturity on both sides. Lessons are being learned from um, most of the characters from what I was seeing. And I also really like the fact that especially with the teens, the very young cast that of characters that we're following, they're kind of introducing how teenagers handle stuff like breakups and going through tough times at home and whatnot, but they do it in a way that feels mature, like it's a showing for younger viewers on how to handle these stresses, handle these hard times with a bit of maturity and with a bit of level-headedness rather than other shows that we've seen in the past. I mean, I remember growing up not really having those types of shows that really laid on those mature aspects on how to handle a breakup with some respect and not act like the sky is falling or point fingers about who was right and wrong. And those were the types of things that I really respect out of the show, and particularly with this season. I just kind of had that realization as I was watching. It was like, yeah, I mean, there's still like the drama aspects of it all, but I thought it was doing a good job with handling those types of emotions and themes and not having to be all about like acting like the sky is falling. Like there was some maturity handled with it, and I think it's good lessons for younger audiences. And that was kind of my big takeaway from this show, anyway. But as well as like the action stuff, they do a really good job with that too. And that's kind of my basic laydown of it. What do you have to add?
Kyle, Go watch Degrassi, The Next Generation, if you want to know how to
Mhm.
handle a breakup. God dang it, you watched nothing but Cartoon Network growing up. What are you talking about? You my guy. You got what? What? You weren't watching those shows growing up. They were there. They were right there. Come on.
A
Come
few,
they were right there. I mean,
few.
yes, Cobra Kai does a good job of handling that. They do a great job of sprinkling just enough CW crap that you love it, but it actually is a better show than almost anything the
Yeah,
CW's ever put out. I
yeah,
wager better than everything. Cobra Kai, I
yeah,
can't believe I didn't put on my top 10 shows of all time. I moved it up to number 3 immediately. 5 seasons in, it's one of the best shows I've ever seen. It's able to handle this season again handles the legacy the right way. It just does. It's fantastic. I love what they do with all the characters that they teased from season 4 that we're teaming up now with, I believe his name is Chosen, right? From Karate Kid 2. He's
mhm,
fantastic in this season. Not only does he have some of the best humor moments, but he gets some really serious moments that I really, really loved, and great fighting. I
yeah,
love what they have done with Johnny Silver and making him the big bad guy while also, you know, Kreese is coming back in. I love it. I love what they've done. I thought they amped up the violence at times. They amped up some of the seriousness, and I actually felt that this season they took a break from the kids a little bit. And I mean, obviously the kids are there; they're in every episode, but I felt this was more focused on on Daniel
yeah,
and on Johnny, and I loved the progression they're going. I loved everything about it. It makes me want to rewatch the trilogy and the show all over again. Max, I know you're pumped. But I I think this show is fantastic. I think they have they have made this show so good that their silly little CW moments now hit like a silly anime does. Like you love it.
yeah,
You're sitting there like, man, this is an awesome moment. They have that moment at the end of the season, like 2 episodes, where our boys like protect the egg, and I literally got chills. I was like, protect the freaking egg while they're downloading things. Are you kidding me? Come on, take them out. There's like adults in there fighting kids. I love this show. It's just one of the best shows I've ever seen. They're able to handle nostalgia so well while moving the story forward. If they're making a Karate Kid movie and you don't bring in this crew, you've made the biggest mistake of your life. I'm telling you that right now. It's not how you make money. You need to make money by bringing in this crew from Netflix. This this show's awesome. I love everything. I love that his wife, Daniel's wife, is like goes from like they finally have the moment that where she's like kind of, we talked about this a lot before with other teenage shows, so the parents always seem oblivious, and the mom in this show and the way they've written her has always been great because she's always been like, look, this is ridiculous, like we're having karate fights in the street, like she's us, and she's like, but now in this season it hits it on the head, and they actually have serious episodes and moments of them not being together, and her being like, this is insane, and then she gets a little badass moment, and everybody just comes back together, and you're like, you're even the characters are like, this is the way things are now. And I love it. I love the show. I love that we're ending where we're going to be going overseas, amp the budget up, bring in some heavy fighters from all over the world. Are you kidding me? I love what they're doing with this tournament idea. I think it's fantastic. Can the show be a bit predictable? Did we know that they were both going to get the spot in the tournament? Absolutely. But I still love it because the characters are so well crafted by the time you're in season 5 that even though I know it doesn't matter who wins the fights to get into the tournament, they'll both get in. I'm still rooting for my favorite characters, which is Sam. Anyway, continue. And Daniel,
I,
obviously, and Johnny.
I do want to say, Sam. I like that they're finally making her not in a relationship. That they're finally like, oh yeah, she's kind of been in this love triangle for way too long. Let's at least let her have time to breathe to figure
Welcome to
out
high school.
if she wants to do this karate stuff to begin with. I appreciate that. And also appreciate what Daniel was going through with his relationship and going to such
Mm-hmm.
extremes to the
Mm-hmm.
point where he was kind of in Johnny's shoes of like kind of at a loss in life, and Johnny was the one being like, "Yo, if I'm the one in the stable relationship, what something is going wrong here. Like, talk to me. Let's grab a beer. Let's talk to me. What's going on?" And I was really appreciative of that, and I was also appreciative of the relationship between Miguel and Robbie
Love it.
being able to finally mend those fences. And it worked for me. I do kind of wish we saw a bit more of the traveling back from Mexico, and the Mexico side plot also ended up being really good. I was glad they stuck the landing there, but I want to see a bit more of that dynamic from the Mexico trip all the way back to where they're living at, and I thought there could have been something there, but they still stuck the landing with mending the fences and having them work as a team finally. What's the villain's name again? I'm spacing on his name now. Silver.
Yeah.
Yeah, he he has a villain lair, and it's the most
It's
hilarious
awesome.
thing.
It's
It's
awesome.
the most hilarious, like, 80s nostalgia thing to me. Um, at times, it
It's
kind
awesome.
of seeing it so many times kind of was taking me out of the show a little. Like, I know it has, like, its goofy moments, but for some reason, the villain lair, while it was funny at first, like, I just kept seeing it, and I was like, "Man, this might be getting a little goofy even for me," but, I can't deny, like, what you were saying, that they do a great job with characters and nostalgia and raising the stakes and doing good with the legacy that this, series of movies has come with.
But it also makes sense because you think of just a lot of guys when they've gone over to war come back and it's not they make a villain lair, but they have an area that, man cave style of this is, my life. This is what I went through. He's a collector. He's rich. That's what they do. So it's not like it's also out of the blue of who the character is. Like it's true to the
No,
character. And yes, they do frame it as a little villain lair, but it's awesome. It's James Bond villain-esque. It's great. It's great. It's great. The
I just
show is
don't
fantastic.
I get what you're saying, but it's the James Bond Karate Kid meshing together where I'm like, "Is that a puzzle piece that quite fits together?" But
It does fantastically. This
alright,
is a puzzle that just keeps on growing and being better and better every second of every day. It's awesome.
as puzzles do.
I've watched so many CW shows and they all stink. They all
Yeah,
stink and they can't
yeah.
handle how you stay true to not only the characters of the past but just the characters you're writing and creating and you're moving forward and they do a fantastic job. I hope they never get tired of living in the Karate Kid world and they stick around for 10 seasons. Let these kids grow up and let's just keep going. Let them have their own kids. Miyagi Do never dies, baby. I love it. I love it. The
Okay.
show's fantastic. Okay, come on. You get 10 seasons of this, all great. You're going to love it. Best show ever.
I just am
Breaking
shocked
Bad,
we're
look
at
out.
I just am shocked still that we're at season 5. Like, it's great. It's hard for shows to keep going for that long, and I hope, like, it doesn't keep jumping the gun and a good thing becomes a bad thing over time, but I'm still shocked that this is a 5-season show. Like, I thought it would end at, like, 3
I can't
maybe,
believe it's
but
5 seasons and the kids still look like they could actually pass in high school. That's what I'm
yeah,
surprised about.
I think most of them were about 16 when they started off, so they cast them young, but they're doing
They
a great
did.
job. Absolutely.
All right, let's move on here, but the headband stays. Giving me a
Do it.
headache doesn't matter. We'll power through. So we're gonna talk about a bunch of No, let's do Planet of the Apes first. Let's talk about this Planet of the Apes because that'll be quick.
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes is a new title. Don't remember the title. Kyle, what is it?
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Makes a lot of freaking sense to me. Love it. Think it's awesome.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of news that I needed that this thing was actually still real and in development. I mean, when it's a 20th Century Fox property, so
Disney.
when Disney bought it, I imagine they were always wanting to, keep going with this world and expand on the Caesar plot
Oh
and
yeah.
make lots of money off of it. But it was just quiet. There was nothing really said about it. We knew that the Maze Runner director Wes Ball was attached, but that stuff could change. We just don't hear about it. But seems like he's still attached. I'm very curious about, his interpretation. I like the first Maze Runner movie just fine. I believe he did direct that one. Um, and the title, yeah, I guess the title's fitting. Planet of the Apes, probably going to be a kingdom moving forward. After the last movie, so yeah, cool, okay. Although I don't know if Andy Serkis is coming. Wait, no, that
No, he's
wouldn't be
dead.
possible. Yep, that's right.
Spoiler.
Whoops, sorry guys. But otherwise, yeah, I like the title.
So the Wes Ball did a short called Ruin, and then he's done the last three Maze Runners. He hasn't made a movie since 2018. I'm okay with it because I think the first Maze Runner's fine. I think studio kind of maybe interfered. I never saw the second one. I know the third one wasn't great, but um I think I think getting one of those coming of age stories at that time was a bad deal for any director because everybody was trying to make a Maze Runner, Divergent. They were all coming out, and everybody was like, "You have to do it the
Mhm.
same formula that Hunger Games or Harry Potter or this or this or that," and it just didn't work because all the studios were like, "You have to do it this way. We have to do it. We have to do it," and everybody was like, "We don't want to do it that way." I think it's great. I would love to see Planet of the Apes in somebody else's in this world with somebody else's take. I think it's time. I'm glad Matt Reeves has moved on. I think wanting him to just be back is ridiculous. I want to see progression in the story. I don't see a reason why we can reboot. Kingdom makes sense. They have not taken over the planet yet, where then we go back to the actual original Planet of the Apes, where Charlton Heston comes back. We haven't gotten there. We're not even close. They haven't taken over the planet. They're still humans. They went to war in the last one with the humans. So if this is going to take place years later, there are plenty of talented actors who could play apes as well. I mean, we saw Toby Kebbell do it. We've seen obviously Andy Serkis. There's plenty of people who can do it, and I think they'll be fantastic at it. So I'm excited to play in this sandbox again and see if he can make something really worth the legacy of this trilogy because it's one of the best trilogies. I don't even think I'll count this as like part of that trilogy. It's going to be like Caesar's trilogy and then hopefully whatever's going to come next.
Mhm.
So I'm all for it. I think it sounds fantastic. They released an image too. Aren't they in production? It looks like I loved it. I think it's awesome.
Oh, yeah, that concept art did look pretty
Oh, it was
cool.
concept art. I thought it was like an actual image.
No, I think I only saw it as concept art. I don't think they had like official production footage. I can take a
That's
look though to make
it's
sure.
probably just what it is. Either way, it
Um,
sounds awesome.
yeah. We also have to remember like the first or the Rise of the Planet of the Apes, I think that's what the first one was called, wasn't with Matt Reeves
Yes,
as the director.
it's
Matt
true.
Reeves just, improved on it
And that
like a
first one's
lot.
good.
But the first one is good. Like it was a good starting point, so it is possible for another director to have a vision for this and do a very good job. So Matt Reeves is in his own sandbox, playpen. What am I trying to say here? He's doing the Batman stuff. He's doing fine there. Let's see what this West Ball guy can do. I mean, there was some good
Yeah.
aspects of Maze Runner. It's a fine movie. Why not? Maybe he's improved.
Yeah, let's do the Star Wars thing next, and then we can just end with Marvel since that's all kind of together. So, what's this
Mhm.
actor's name?
Barry Keoghan.
Yep. So, new Joker. Saw him in the Batman this last year. If you haven't seen the Batman and you're watching this, big bummer, pal. Uh, should have seen it.
Yeah.
And then he's in Eternals. I like him. I know some of our friends do not like him really as an actor. I think he does a really good job. I'm curious what his Joker will be. The little we saw it, I thought was great. The clip that they showed, I thought was great after like the deleted scene. But apparently he's going around town being like, I need to be in Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie. Who do I need to talk to? He's like calling everybody. I say great actor if he's right for whatever Taika hasn't even written this movie yet. So whatever he if he wants if Taika wants him to do it, I'm all for it.
Well, I'm sure Taika will find him eventually. I mean, he's also trying to find Natalie Portman so that way she can be in a Star Wars movie because she's never been in one of those
No,
before.
no. She's not in
Um,
it. He's whack, but she's not going to be in it.
um, yeah, I mean, good actor wants to be in a franchise movie. Cool. All right, sign me up. I do like this actor. I haven't really seen too much of his work outside of like Dunkirk and Batman.
He was
Oh wait, no,
really good in his small
and
part in The
Eternals.
Green Knight.
Yes, he is. That's
Got a
right. I
small
forgot
little
about that
part, and
too.
I like it. I mean, he doesn't do anything insane, but
Mhm.
I thought he was good.
Yeah, I think over time, as I see more of his work, I'm really gonna start, really enjoying like his style of acting and how he presents himself on screen. I just haven't seen too much, or just in little moments to where I like him, but I'm not enthusiastic about him. But he's still a very good actor. If Taika can make it work to where he plays at least an interesting character or just anyone at all, fine. Yeah, sounds cool. We don't even know what the Star Wars movie is about, so no reason to think like it's a bad decision. So yeah, I like it.
You
Why not?
nervous about Taika after Thor 4? 'Cause Thor 4 stinks.
Um, no. I mean, it's possible that he takes like a break and is able to think a
His
bit
movie's
more
coming
about the
out
Star
next
Wars
year.
movie. Sorry, what was that?
His movie is slated to come out next year. No breaks. Got to get moving.
I don't know. That
Yeah,
seems a
we all
bit
know it'll move. It'll
quick
move. We
now.
all know it's gonna move. But
Yeah,
right, we can't play the assumption. We got to play the facts. The facts right now is not moving, so there's no breaks. Taika, no
fair enough.
breaks.
Fair enough. You better start sweating then. No, I'm not really nervous about it.
I'm not either. I think the jokes he can do fit in Star Wars. He's directed Star Wars on The Mandalorian, helped written for stuff on The Mandalorian. He understands the Star Wars world. I think he would do great in there. I'm not sour on Taika. I do think he made a not great Marvel movie. I think he really did a lot. Max, you got to chill, bro. Sorry for the cat. But we I think he'll be great. He's made some incredible movies, some amazing movies. Some movies I think are good but not great, and now a bad movie that I'm not a big fan of. But I think he'll do great. I'm ready to see Taika do something that's fresh. You know, even if it's Star Wars, he's writing his own Star Wars movie in Star Wars universe. It's going to be his take in Star Wars that is fresh with just a brand name on it, and I'm here for that because I think we needed to move on from Thor. I don't need a Thor 5 from him. I'm ready to see what he can do in Star Wars. And I think Barry would be a great addition if he chooses to cast him. If not, then great.
Couldn't have said
Yeah.
it better myself.
I also heard apparently Christian Bale filmed like R-rated level scenes as Gore the God Butcher. How do you let Christian Bale film R-rated level that freaking dark and good scenes and then go, "Nah, we need the jokes." How? How? I don't even know how you do that.
Because
Kevin Feige
Disney
must be
trumps
spread
all.
too freaking thin. And we're going to talk about that right now. Kevin Feige is too thin, apparently. Kevin, you're looking good these days, though. Don't let anybody tell you different, Kevin. You're looking great. You always have. You always
Yeah,
will. Love you, Kev.
yeah.
I hope I can call
Cutie.
you Kev. I hope I can call you Kev. I think we're on those terms.
I don't, no, I'm not sure about that.
Excuse me.
I,
Are
d-
you wearing
I-
the headband? He respects
no,
anybody in Miyagi-Do. You kidding me?
no. But he
Come
wears a
on.
hat just like me. He wears it like
Oh,
down here. And,
now he loves you. Now he loves you.
yeah.
You got it the right way.
See,
Uh,
Kev and I are pals now.
so let's start with that. I like maybe Thor 4 is part of it. Maybe he is stretched too thin, and Thor 4 didn't go well, and he didn't ended up not liking the movie as much either. And now all this other stuff's happening. He's like, I got to be more involved or whatever. You know, after that, I want a Sam Raimi style director for my next Fantastic Four movie, and then he didn't get that, but I not that type of caliber I think that he was talking about, but because we have the director for Fantastic Four. Who is it? I
The
can't
guy
remember.
who made or showrunned WandaVision. I'll look it up now because I forgot his name.
Because Michael Waldron is now doing Secret Wars, and he wrote WandaVision, and he wrote Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So he's writing now Secret Wars. That's something that just came out.
He wrote Loki. I don't know if he wrote WandaVision.
Oh, I thought it was WandaVision. You might be right. Loki's probably right.
Yeah,
And
he
he did
wrote
Doctor
Loki for
Strange.
sure. Wrote Multiverse of Madness. Have you been seeing that there's like a petition now to get him off of Secret Wars?
I haven't seen the petition. I know people, and we'll talk about Wolverine and Deadpool here in a minute, but I saw people think that Kevin Feige went ahead and greenlit Deadpool and make that announcement and then quietly announced Waldron because of he didn't want a backlash. Waldron's a great writer. Look, you can't go love season 1 of Loki and then dislike one thing and then demand he get removed. That's not how that works. There are some great written moments in Multiverse of Madness, whether or not you think the movie stinks or not. Are there a couple lines that we have friends who hated the movie because one line was bad? Yes. But there are some really great moments. There are great moments in that movie that he wrote. So I'm all for it. And I mean, We can't keep doing this. We can't keep these petitions going. The fans have gotten way too toxic. I hate it. Anyway, what do you think about Waldron doing Secret Wars in this petition? And Kevin being too thin, being spread out, not enough attention because we're babies now and we need Big Daddy Kevin to come take care of us as we make our little movie because it's not what the fans wanted. Sorry, I'm in a mood. um,
Really?
yeah,
Couldn't
it's
tell.
true. Hey, it's true. It's just facts.
Yeah, I'm fine with this guy writing Secret Wars. Because I did really love the writing in Loki. That was probably one of its biggest strengths, in my opinion. In Multiverse of Madness, I'm mixed on the movie, but I didn't think the writing was poor. You could just tell that there was a lot of behind the scenes moving around to where they had to get the movie done a certain way. And I think Waldron just had to, work around it and do the best job that he could. And Sam Raimi took it from there and gave us a very great visual Marvel movie. So, I thought it worked out just fine. It wasn't one of my favorite movies, but I didn't think Waldron was at fault for it necessarily. So, yeah, it already seems like Feige kind of trusts, and Disney for that matter, trusts this guy to begin with, because I believe he's also writing his own Star Wars movie. It always loops back to Star Wars on this
Oh yeah,
show.
it does.
Um,
It's because they're desperate over there.
they're desperate. Yeah, I have no complaints about it. Fans have just grown up thinking everything is great with Marvel and every single thing they do is golden, which to be fair, we grew up around that time too, and it did seem like it at one point, but I think they've gotten so into that mindset that even if there's a slight hiccup with like a writer doing a good enough job, then when he's attached to something else, the sky is falling and it's going to be a disaster. But I don't see this being a disaster here. I think he'll do a fine job, and they also have a suitable director, who did Shang-Chi, working on
I
Secret
freaking love
Wars as well.
Shang-Chi. I love
So,
it. I just saw a clip on TikTok the other day and I was like, I got to rewatch this movie. This clip is awesome. Like the fighting's
hmm
awesome.
hmm
Uh, we need a Shang-Chi too. Yeah, I think people forget too how movies work and how a script, like when you get a Nolan script, it's Nolan. Everything about it's Nolan, from the writing to the directing. But Sam Raimi comes in and he has a very 2000 style of filmmaking. He still has. He's been on TV doing that for the last 10
80s,
years.
90s,
And
yeah.
and he probably went up and was like, hey, do the line this way. That's how directing works. It's, hey, I want you to read the line that Michael wrote, which is a great line. And here's how I want you to now say it and emphasize it. And, oh, that's perfect. And you change the whole idea of a script. A director does that. That's how it works in Hollywood. I saw a tweet today, too, that said, the editor, there's an editor of Hereditary is going to be editing what was the movie? Can you help me out here? You know what I'm talking about?
No, I haven't looked into
I
this.
thought it was a Marvel movie. There's a thing going around about the editor of Hereditary and another movie are coming in to I think help edit a Marvel movie, or something like that. And
Oh.
people were like, editors don't matter. This is not news. And it's like, do you understand that an editor can ruin your movie or make it better? Are you kidding me? A great editor can come in and look at a great editor can walk up to Spielberg and say, I can make your movie better or worse. Like, that's what editing is. Like, what are you talking about? If you never edited a video in your life, you must not be a great editor. Anyway,
I got secondhand embarrassment from that. Oh my god, that's funny. Also,
that's awful. You also clearly didn't go to film school. What?
editors and composers have the most wild filmographies. Like they can go from working on, like you were saying, Hereditaries and the horrors of that type to, an animated movie or a Marvel movie. So those types of news to me don't, not that they don't matter, but like it's just, yeah, the guy's doing his job because he can work on any project he wants to. It just varies on, if they have the time or not. So don't
It
take
was
too much
also
stock into that type of stuff, but
this person also
they're important.
edited Tenant and is
Mhm.
rumored to like be coming in and fix something of Marvel's. And it's like, do you not these new wave of wackos don't even understand how movie making works. They clearly didn't even
Nope.
go to film school for a minute, and if they didn't, they're not actually picking up a textbook and learning about how filmmaking works. Go make a movie and then tell me how it works. You know what I mean? Like, that's,
Yeah.
go do that instead, because an editor can truly break your movie. I mean, we've seen editors come in to try to fix bad movies. Look at what happened with Fan Fantastic. An editor came in and tried their best to make that movie okay, and the first half's okay. Like,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. Anyway, Michael Waldron sounds great. How about we see the product before we hate it?
Yeah.
All right,
Matt
let's talk about
Shackman, real quick. Matt Shackman is the Fantastic Four director. Looping back to
nice.
that, but
Love it.
anyway, on to the next
Sounds fantastic. So
four.
Wolverine's in Deadpool. Deadpool 3 has been greenlit apparently. There's rumors. Love a good
Rumors.
rumor.
What rumors,
Yes.
Al?
People are saying that there's no actual official confirmation from Disney or Marvel that this is happening. It's just Ryan and Hugh. So some people think that Ryan Reynolds did it again and he has just put something out there to force their hand. I doubt it. Um,
Yeah,
I
there's a
think
release date. There's a release date. It's
boom.
yeah, it's
Gotcha.
official. It's official.
So people think that they're not paying attention.
Dummies.
They're also reading things on whatsupmovies.com or something like that, and they're like,
Not
"This is
even
fact.
calm.
This is fact." Yeah. Um,
Dark
but
Dark
anyway,
Loop.
I love it. I love it. Does this hurt the legacy of Logan? No, it does not. It does not. If anything, it can enhance the legacy of Logan. You kidding me? It might not even be that Logan. That Logan's also not necessarily the one from the X-Men. Like, there's so much gray area with what Fox was doing. So if you're worried about the legacy, get over it. We're going to get an awesome movie. Hugh's coming back. It's fantastic. This looks great. I don't understand why this is a problem. Both Deadpools are incredible. He originally pitched this to Fox before Disney bought it as Wolverine and Deadpool on a buddy trip movie, and now he's
Oh,
going through time. He leaves in Deadpool 2 and he has the ability to go through time. He can go do whatever he wants. Like, this is going to be great. This is going to be fantastic. We'll all love it, and then we'll be like, how did we ever doubt it? Anyway, thoughts?
you're not gonna like what I'm gonna say.
You hate it because it's going to ruin the legacy of Logan?
I'm not worried about legacy stuff. I'm not worried about like timeline, how it affects timelines of MCU or X-Men timelines. I mean, X-Men timelines, those didn't matter a long time ago anyway. Um, I just was fine with closing the chapter on Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I was ready just for, the next coming of X-Men to be a new actor playing Wolverine, or not that that's not going to happen already, but I was just ready to move on with someone new, or maybe not have Wolverine for a while longer. Like, I would have totally been fine with that. Just a trend that I'm not really enjoying seeing is this nostalgia trip stuff where like actors from the past come back to replay the roles. We've seen that it's done well in something like No Way Home. I'll give it that. But it's just becoming a tiring trend to me. And I just am okay with, with blockbusters and stuff having new characters, introducing new ideas for new generations rather than having the same guy come back again. I'm sure that this movie is going to be very good. I don't doubt it when it comes to Ryan Reynolds being in charge of Deadpool in this franchise, basically. And obviously, these two have great chemistry. We've seen them in commercials, and all the Twitter back and forth stuff that they do is hilarious. But just for where I'm at right now with this stuff, like, I'm just okay with not going back and seeing an actor come back to a role. I'm very much okay with moving on from this sort of stuff. But I'm definitely in the minority, and I really hope that this movie is very good and hope people enjoy it, but it just didn't excite me all that much just because I just like change. I'm ready for change, and I don't know. I just don't like this trend that we've had lately of having legacy characters come back to franchises or that sort of thing.
The only argument I'll say against that is that Ryan Reynolds has been trying to get this to happen for 6 years or something like that.
Sure.
Like, we've known that he's been like, I really want to do a third one with you. I want to do another one with you. I want Hugh Jackman to be it. Ever since Deadpool 1, he's been saying that. So
Mhm.
I take that a little differently because I think that's actually been him for the last however long trying
Yeah.
to make this happen. So it feels like it's not bringing back in that same way to me. Not like it is where Abomination and these and Jane and all these other characters have come back because suddenly the directors are all over and really good or whatever. I think that this has a little bit of a different argument. Um, I also think it just doesn't matter if you do a good job. If it only sucks if it's bad. I
Yeah.
mean, if you get great content, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Bring back everybody. Bring back Iron Man. I don't care. I'd probably be a little bummed about Robert, because he's
Like,
so
things need to be
integral to what
final.
we have. I agree, and I think when we're playing in this MCU, I think a character like Logan is so much different than Robert. I think Robert needs to stay dead because we're in the context of this story that we have. And I don't think we need him back. I think we need to let that story be done. But Fox did their own movies, their own ending to their Wolverine, and this is now us pulling part of that. Maybe could be a completely different Wolverine with the same actor coming in. Some people think it's going to take place after the third Wolverine movie where he gets the yellow suit at the end and he fought that robot guy or whatever, like
Oh, the second
samurai
one. Yeah.
movie,
Yeah.
whatever it was. Yeah. People think that's where this Wolverine will be taken from and that they're very different. And I don't, it doesn't matter because to me, he's never been really a part of the MCU. It's when we bring back characters in poor ways. To me, as much as cool as Chris Evans, coming back as Cap and we do a show where he's bringing the Stones back. Sure. But like, to me, that feels more of what you're saying to get people to get back on board with Marvel than this myself, if that makes sense. But
It does. But like I said, I'm not really interested in the justifications of like timelines and why this won't affect anything. I just think that even for, these expanding universe type movies and franchises, there does need to be a little bit of finality to some things. You know what I mean? I I just think like it's okay to move on. It's okay to have new
I
characters
agree.
and new actors come in for this type of stuff. That's just my view on it. I just have not been really worrying so much about timeline stuff when it comes to the superheroes and especially with the MCU, just because I hope, for good, entertaining movies. I felt that way with the DC stuff for a long time, and MCU is starting to feel that way for me too. Like, whatever you deliver for me, I hope it's really good and I hope I like it. And I hope for the same with Deadpool 3,
I
regardless of what I think
guarantee you.
about
Go
Jackman.
ahead. Sorry.
Just to, no, that's all right. I was just wrapping up my thoughts saying, even with my thoughts on Jackman coming back for the role, I still hope this is going to be very entertaining and very good.
You watch first joke of this movie when they get together. First thing is Deadpool's going to turn and go, he's going to turn to the camera and go, I bet you wanted a new actor, you MC, and he's going to swear at you, and it's going to be directed right at you, Kyle, the man
Hey,
who wants
Kyle.
all new creative content, but yet nothing has the magic.
Hey, Kyle, shut up.
No, I
Who
think this will be
invited you?
good. As long
That's
as
what
they
he's
make a
going to
good
say.
movie, that's what matters to me.
Yeah.
But all right. So let's touch on Armor Wars. We'll move to Blade. Armor Wars is now a movie from a show. I don't think this is big news at all. My guess is they thought the story served better as a movie. That's my true and honest answer. And I think that's most likely what happened. People think Kevin Feige came in and was like ripping through stuff. And he's like, we need to fix everything. And Armor Wars needs to be a blah, 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 to new Bob or whatever, that he went in and like put his foot down on this Disney Plus stuff. I don't believe that one bit. I think he knows he has to do shows now. That's something his boss had told him. You got to do some shows. And I think he said, you know what? This is better as a movie. Simple. I think that's exactly what happened.
The one part about this story that surprises me is that normally, or not normally, what we've seen lately is, say, like the Pixar movies. They get announced as theatrical releases, and then there was a pattern of them going straight to streaming. So to see like Disney actually take like a Disney Plus show and then say let's morph it and change it into like an actual theatrical movie. At least I'm assuming it's theatrical. I don't know if it's like a streaming only movie, but I'm gonna assume it's theatrical. That's actually kind of surprising to me. Um, and there's not really any other dialogue or thinking about this I can really come up with outside of that. I was just kind of surprised that it was the opposite. So I'm not too excited about Armored Wars to begin with, but at least it's another movie going to theaters, so that'll be cool. I just hope that this isn't going to be showing that it feels like some of these shows are made as movies and then they chop them up as like episodes. I kind of hope that's not what this means, but I
No,
don't
it's
really have
it's a
much.
movie. They're not gonna chop it up and make it into a show that way. It's supposed to be a movie
No, I just
now.
am saying like I'm not really sure if this show has been filmed already or if they're about to start and they're changing it from a show format to a movie format. But some of the complaints I've heard from like the Marvel shows and the Star Wars shows is that it feels like this was supposed to be like scripted and molded as a movie, but then they chop it up as shows, and that's why we kind of get a common unevenness to some of their stuff. So
I'd agree
I'm
to
hoping to
that a little
not
bit.
see that with Armored Wars, but that just depends on if they've done enough in production or not. I honestly don't know if they've even started, but those are my only thoughts.
So I do know that Big Bob's like streaming's the way to go. Blah, blah, blah. I think he's a numbers guy, and I think he's paying attention to the numbers. You know, the
Yeah.
numbers are saying that people want to go back to the movies. Look at
Mhm.
Top Gun. Look at some of these other smaller movies that have done really well. Like there's people want to go to the theater. They do. They really do. And I think what is happening at Disney is they're going, "Oh, we're now like what? Aren't they like now the number 1 subscribed platform? I think if you combine them with Hulu they are, and I think if they're separate it's top 3 or something like that." I think they're going, "Oh, now it doesn't matter. Now we can do both. We can put a show. We don't have to force these creators to make shows because now we have the subscribers and they're sticking around." So I think that is also at play here where New Bob is looking at those numbers going, look, we've got the subscribers. We don't need to go full HBO style and cancel everything. But now we can play in the sandbox a little bit more. If you want to switch this show up to a movie, sounds great. Movie people want to go to the theater, they make money still. Look at Top Gun. Look at Spider-Man. Look at Doctor Strange. It made money. Like I think people and I think Black Panther is going to be insane how big it's going to be. So
For sure.
I think New Bob is saying, okay, now we had to do that for a little bit. We had to put our foot down and say, look, we need shows. We need Star Wars. We need this or that. And I think now Marvel's big enough to be like, look, we don't need to do this necessarily all the time anymore. We'll still do some shows. We won't do shows, and we're going to do movies. And they're like, sounds good. I think it's just as simple as that. I think Star
Yeah,
Wars wants to do shows. I think they want to do anything other than make a movie because they just are terrified of what to do next. I think that is very true. And
I
Andor
think you're right about
rocks.
that.
All
I think
four
you're part.
episodes of 3 episodes of Andor rock. Um.
That's true.
Anyway, uh, let's touch on this last topic here. Blade. Can you give me a little recap? I don't really remember what I Blade. I'm a director. The so bad. Mahershala's pissed. Everybody's mad. What happened?
Uh, so the director of Blade with Mahershala Ali starring in it lost his director Bassam Tariq. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So they're probably trying to scramble and find a new director for this thing because the movie is supposed to be in production and supposed to be dated for November 3rd, 2023. As I keep saying on this show, it's probably going to get pushed back. That's kind of the common theme. But there's also rumblings within those reports that um, the script for Blade wasn't very good. Like, apparently, for a blockbuster, it was a pretty short script of 90 minutes, and it seemed like the action scenes that were included in the script were sounding of underwhelming. Not to mention, Ali, by the sounds of it, is very frustrated that there hasn't been movement on this project as much as he would hope, which if it's true, it's kind of fair because this project was announced what feels like 5 years ago, something like that. COVID really made time an illusion for me, so I'm not too positive. Um, and there's also the rumblings that this is kind of a leeway into the subject of Kevin Feige being spread too thin when it comes to all the projects that he has to do. And for me personally, I kind of buy that to a degree. It's not like he is completely hands-on on all of the projects to begin with. I mean, I'm sure he's gone on set multiple times and has, watched the dailies, but I don't think he's there constantly every single day making sure everyone's doing their job, doing all sorts of hand-holding because he has meetings and he has press junkets that he has to attend to it and, talking and making deals and that sort of thing. But now that we're in this era that not only is he working on movie projects, but also streaming projects for Marvel and apparently playing a role in Star Wars, maybe or maybe not. I can see how even for one guy who does such a great job, can be spread a little too thin, even if he doesn't feel like he is. And I've seen with the shows, or at least in my opinion with the shows, and even some of the movies, that it just doesn't really strike a chord and doesn't really have as much of an impact as I would like to in the previous past movies that he's worked on. So I'm not shocked at all if this is true, but this is also speculation, and that's all we can really do with that information. But I wouldn't be totally surprised if that would be the case. What about you?
Um, I think the Kevin Feige being spread too thin has some merit and is also kind of dumb at the same time, because I think there is a little bit of can we not do anything without daddy around mentality, and it's like, what are we doing here? Like, he's still a producer. He should still be able to see things. But do you need Kevin Feige on set to walk you through every single thing that you need to make sure happens? Wasn't one of the rumors that Snyder talked about was that it was there wasn't enough action. Did you say that? I can't remember.
Yeah, within the script, it sounded like there was only two action sequences, and they weren't met with great reviews, according to those that looked at the script. I suppose. Take that for
Yeah,
what you
and
will.
and I thought I saw a rumor. I can't remember where. I just tried to find it again of that somebody was brought in to that they were there were rumors that they were looking at this person to completely rewrite the script.
That director? That might have been from Snyder too, although I don't recall.
Which
I guess I could find
director?
that tweet.
Yeah, you find it and you let me know. Because
Yeah.
I think if Mahershala Ali goes, we don't want a solo issue. If Mahershala Ali goes up to studio execs, to Kevin, and says, "Hey, this script is just not great. Like, there's no action in it. I feel like it's just so bland. Like, I don't want to make that. I want to bring Blade." And we're looking at bigger than just making a movie here, I think, because especially looking at the success of Black Panther, this is bringing in another iconic non-white character into Marvel as a big force. And this is an actor who wants to play this role. He sought it out. And so I think there's more to it at play for Mahershala. So he probably just goes, "Hey, I just don't know if this is it." And then maybe Kevin Feige listens to him and says, "You know what? I think you're right. We should get a total rewrite here, because I think we should start from the ground up with a new story." And if that's the case, then I'm all for that, because I think that's just creative decisions. The director who is staying on as an executive producer, who is now left as the director, has never made anything that I've heard of. So I'm okay with them going, it's different than at least somebody that made a pretty popular TV show, or a James Gunn that made some really good indie movies I had heard of. I had not heard of these movies. Granted, I haven't heard of them probably because I'm uncultured and I haven't looked beyond my own lens here in America. But I think there's some ground to that when you're then going to be taking on a massive Marvel project like Blade. And I think they probably just sat down and said, "Look, we want to kind of start this over." And he just unfortunately was not kept as a director. I hope he continues to get work with Marvel, because I'd like to see what he can do. Maybe start him on a smaller scale. But I think this is all just okay. I think the too thin thing is probably just something from this movie. Mahershala, somebody on that set was like, "Kevin's never around for us and we don't like this script." There you go. He's spread too thin. Kevin's not around. Boom. That's all it takes to get that rumor going. So I don't know. I think there's a lot at play that we're misinterpreting here, but or not fully aware of. But did you find some info for me?
Yeah, the writer that you're thinking of is Bo DeMeo, who I'm not familiar with. So there you go.
Well, look him up. I spent all that time talking. You couldn't even look up what Bo
It was a
DeMeo's
lot of
done. Come on,
scrolling for the
pal.
tweet.
Is it Bo B-O?
BEAU. DeMeo.
B-E-A.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to rumors, you need to take them with a grain of salt. From
Oh,
what I
he's
was
written
seeing,
some
these
great
rumors were
stuff. Oh God. Sorry.
who I was just saying, like, these are coming from Jeff Snyder, who I think is like one of the best when it comes to at least scooping, if not giving
Pretty well
legitimate
connected.
reports to things. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm taking a bit more stock into thinking like there is some accuracy to this, because I do trust him. But um, you know, it's stuff through the grapevine, very possible. So you never know. But What has this person done? What has
So he's written
Beau
a couple
DeMayo
episodes
done?
for The Witcher, which I think do a really good job. He wrote
Mm,
one episode of Moon Knight. I know you're not a fan of Moon Knight, but I think I really like Moon Knight. He wrote The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf, which is an animated Netflix movie, I believe, that's pretty popular, and some League of Legends stuff. He hasn't, but this is more work that I am like, okay, like I've seen this, I know what this brings. He wrote some stuff for Star Trek, and he's working on X-Men 97, and that's what I remember reading, is that they were very impressed with him on his Moon Knight and on X-Men 97. So I think that's why people really were or why I was okay with it when I first heard about this. And I am. If he's rewriting the script from the ground up, great. And I mean, I agree with you. I love Jeff. I think he's an amazing guy. I think he does a great job. I hate how Collider handled it with him, from what I heard. Never know the behind the scenes, but um, I don't know. I think there is an argument for too thin, and I think there's also an argument for why this is just a little bit too over exaggerated. I think there's both. And I think my
okay.
guess is Kevin feels that way too, where he's like, look, I can't be everywhere at once. And I need directors who don't need to be babysat the whole time anymore. I think he needs that. And I think that's part of the reason we had that news with what he was looking for with Fantastic Four, because I think he liked the fact that not everyone was like, hey, what are you doing? Because we know Jon Favreau didn't do that. We know the Russo brothers didn't do that. And those were his heavy hitters for a long time. So he doesn't have them anymore. He can't just say, hey, go do your job. Now it's a bunch of new guys that are like, and he does have more on his plate, but we also have to be able to make our movie. Like, producers can't always be there all the time. So anyway, any other
Okay.
thought?
Um, no, no, I've said enough about that. Too much Marvel from one day. But this has been a fun episode.
Can't you just enjoy Marvel?
No,
I'm going to say it again, and I don't care. If you're watching She-Hulk for Daredevil, you're an idiot. And you
I
need
agree
to
with that.
fix how you watch things. I actually have enjoyed She-Hulk. Some of the animation's not great. Guess what? That's fine. Tatiana's awesome. She's great in the role. I love what they're doing. I think it's fun. I think it's funny. It's a nice little breath of fresh air. I like these
That's good.
shows, man. They're giving me breath of fresh air, but I don't get sour on things. I just don't. Except for
You don't
Don't
need
Worry,
to.
Darling. That movie sucked.
Fair
I
enough. You
think
can
about
have
it
that
all the
one.
time. And now we have to watch The Lobster, another bad movie. Ugh.
Well, for those who are
Ugh.
questioning that, we have a movie club, and the choice was The Lobster. Um,
Ugh.
no, we're not. We're
Bad.
not doing this for any other reason. Just for a movie club.
Love you,
You just
Colin, but
needed to vent.
bad. Anyway, guys, what do you think of what we talked about today? Comment below. Let us know. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Please go join the patronage. Come watch me be in moods. Go get some merch. Again, Halloween taking over Christmas one tree at a time. So, yeah, and as always, thanks for watching, Mom.
See you guys.